I was muted that whole time. Dang it, I had a great joke.
Man.
Oh, no. I'll save that for next week. Well, welcome, everybody.
Sorry.
Welcome to Tillamook County Live, an amateur hour show for locals by locals. And also a show where you can watch me twirl my beard for an hour straight. I was muted there for a bit. I hate it when I do that. Anyway, tonight we've got a returning guest, Amanda Ferrat, who will be talking about an upcoming suicide prevention and mental health awareness event called Hope Fest that will be at the Tillamook Bay Community College this Friday, the 17th. Excited to have her back on. Mental health is a great topic I like to bring up because even though, I myself, live fairly well and have been fortunate, I also have struggles too, and I'm always happy to share with people and others know, so that way they know they're not alone. And but we got a lot to go over, so let's get into the news. Oh, I wonder, can you feel it? So earlier today, there was a herd of some very sensual cows blocking Highway 6. The road was blocked until about 4 p.m. today, which coincides with their feeding time. Let's go. Yikes. Somebody needs to call the Vice Squad on those cows. It's a little risque. From the Tillamook County Pioneer, tomorrow, this Wednesday, May 15th, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Starbucks next to the Denny's in Tillamook, the police department will be hosting the Coffee with a Cop event, where community members can engage with officers in a relaxed and friendly environment. The event was at Denny's last year, but a new location had to be selected for this year's event due to some unruly behavior by the officers. Let's take a look to see what happened last year.
What's the matter? Your mama didn't teach you how to chug? Come on, Thorn. Come on, Thorn. Oh. I am all that is man. Every time.
I think I'm gonna go to that tomorrow. I haven't really chatted with any of the police officers in town yet, and got to get in some of that cheeky shenanigans. Get pistol whipped. On to the weather.
Here comes the rain again.
Looks good to me. Back to you, Steve. Thank you for that, Steve. That was compelling and rich. And finally, our last segment, we've got a Tillamook Canine Rescue Dog of the Week. This is a talkie segment, lasts about 5 minutes. So Kamaya, if you need to step away or anything, you got about 5 minutes, but we're gonna just dive right in. Everybody, let's meet Shadow over at the rescue.
I need somebody like you. Everybody needs somebody.
Catahoula pit mix. He's about, you're thinking, a year and a half.
Now remember to say year and a half like five times and me forget to cut it out.
He's got a lot of energy. He also has a condition in his eyes called entropion eyelash syndrome, where his eyelashes grow into his eyeballs. It's not comfortable for him. We are getting that done, so it's fixed up for him, so he won't have it when he's adopted. And we think some of that is part of his reactivity right now. He's a little reactive to other male dogs. He's also not neutered at the moment, but he'll get that surgery when he gets neutered. Our goal was hoping that he would get adopted so he could recover from his surgery in his home, because to do it at the shelter, we have to have a foster for him. He's gonna ruin the surgery if he's here left unattended by himself. We do have a volunteer that is going to take him so he can get that done, but that'll be the end of May. If people are interested in him before then and they're willing to help, we can schedule around them to get his adoption done, and then he will recover in the home. Hey, Shadow, sit. Good boy.
What would be a good home for him?
Someone active would be good for him. He needs a lot of exercise. He's pretty good with other female dogs, so he might be okay with another female in the house. But someone who has a active home or wants to go hiking, wants to take the time to train him, he just needs his brain to work so that he uses it a lot and it chills him out.
What about homes with dogs or other cats?
I don't know how he is with cats. I would be a little concerned that he might chase them. It's hard to tell with him. He's not a big ball chaser. He's not very toy driven. It's just hard to tell. We just haven't tested it.
Yeah.
Because he is so high energy.
What about other dogs?
I would say beta females, or maybe a very beta male. He's pretty reactive to other males to the extent that I don't think he'd be good in a home with another male dog. Is this your cow grazing time? That's why his eye is so watery on the one place, that's the surgery he needs. The other one isn't so bad.
So the rescue themselves are going to set up the neutering and the eyes. Just wanted to try to time it so that way, if it gets done, we'd like to get him in a home so he's getting taken care of and monitored while he heals. Is the big timing issue.
If he doesn't get a home, then we are looking to get that surgery done towards the end of May, and one of our volunteers is going to foster him to get him through it. But yeah, we will be covering the cost of the surgery. It's actually, one of our volunteers already has covered the cost of it and paid for it, so it's been done.
Oh wow.
He'll get his neuter at the same time. Oh, now we're vomiting. Okay. He's a good boy, and he's very receptive to learning, so that's a good thing. He's very treat motivated, and I didn't bring any treats with me. And he still knows most of the tricks that we didn't teach him, which was like a down, a sit, roll over, paw. In a home, he'll calm down a lot, and I think he has the ability to be a semi-couch potato at times.
How long has he been here?
He came in February 16th, so he's going on a couple months.
Do we know any of his backstory of where he came from?
He was found up off of Highway 6 at the footbridge. I don't know much about that. When he came in, he seemed to know a lot of tricks already and was pretty well cared for. Not skinny, good coats. For dogs like Shadow, even Cleo, and the new one we got in Copper, these are dogs that take more than one meet and greet to get to know them, and we are very open to that. If people are interested in them and want to form a relationship so they can see how they are, not just initial meetings where they're super excited for the new person or they're not trusting of the new person, that is something we will work with people to do just as part of the adoption process, because we want to see these guys get into their home, and sometimes an initial greet isn't going to be easy.
This is Shadow over at the Canine Rescue. If you're interested in them, give Canine Rescue a buzz and fill out an adoption application.
Yes.
They'll be happy to set up a meet and greet and get you some more information. And then remember, they are trying to time his appointment to be neutered and have his eye surgery, which they are paying for. Hopefully someone wants to give him a home at that same time so that way he can go home and heal. Check out Shadow. Toodles.
All right, that was Shadow. Go check him out. We got more dogs coming up too. We got a couple of them this last weekend. So yeah, big thanks to Tillamook Canine Rescue. They're awesome people taking good care of those dogs. All right, well, let's move on to our main guest. talking with Amanda Ferrat about the upcoming Hope Fest and talk about some mental health awareness and some other stories as well. So everybody, let's welcome Amanda.
And I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow.
All right. Welcome, Amanda.
Hello.
You brought a guest with you. Would you like to introduce?
I do have a guest. This is Andrea Salsa. She is the co-chair of the Tillamook County Suicide Prevention Coalition. I'm kind of my co-conspirator in all things that I do. So I had her join me today.
That's fantastic. So the rest of the hour is all yours if you want to start diving into Hope Fest. But if you end up getting through it pretty quick and you want Amanda to share some things, or if you want to just jump into a conversation about just general suicide prevention and mental health awareness outside of Hope Fest, I'm happy to stick around, have that conversation with you for as long as you wanted to talk. So yeah, the floor's all yours, Amanda.
Is it Andrea and Amanda? Andrea, is it?
Yes.
Hi, Andrea. Yeah. All right.
So yes, we're both with the Tillamook County Suicide Prevention Coalition, and May, if you don't know it, is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so we got a grant from Oregon Health Authority and the Oregon Alliance to Prevent Suicide last year as a coalition. And part of our big projects that we put on the grant were to do some sort of mental health fairs in May of 2024. And we didn't know exactly what those would look like, but we knew that we wanted to include, community resources, a QPR gatekeeper training at the least. And then we wanted to do something that would center the voices of people with lived experience. So we now have these Hope Fests. That's the name we came up with. And HOPE stands for Healing, Outreach, Prevention, and Education. And so we've had one in each part of the county. So our last one is happening this Friday, May 17th in Tillamook at Tillamook Bay Community College from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. And it will include a resource fair with local resources connecting folks to their services and information, and also giving out lots of cool swag. We have these cool brain squishies. So if you don't have a brain and you need a brain, come get a brain. Steven,
I'll take 5.
And then we will also have a QPR Gatekeeper training. And
wait, what? I don't mean to sound, but what's QPR?
I'm going to tell you all about it. So QPR stands for Question, Persuade, and Refer. And so it is like, yep. So like CPR is the basic standard training for helping save lives in regard to physical health, right? And the more people trained in CPR, the more likely we are to save lives. Well, QPR is the basic standard for suicide prevention in helping save lives in regard to suicide. So yeah, it stands for Question, Persuade, Refer. They did that on purpose to make it sound kind of like CPR. And it is a training where folks will walk away being able to recognize some basic clues that someone may be considering suicide, and then persuade them to connect to resources and support them in connecting those resources. So we do need folks to pre-register, and that's because there is a limited space, and they can do so by emailing me at tcspcinfo@gmail.com. And then our survivor storytelling is going to be a way for us to center lived experience of those with mental illness or suicide has impacted them. So a survivor is basically anybody that has had their own struggles with mental health or suicide, or anyone that has lost a loved one to suicide. So I'm a suicide survivor, and I grew up impacted by suicide because my uncle died by suicide before I was born. And then I've had my own struggles with mental health and suicidal ideation. So those are kind of the 3 main pieces of Hope Fest. Am I missing anything, Andrea?
No.
Okay.
I think we're going to have a lot of fun too.
Yes. We're also at this one, since we have a little more space, we're going to have some rock painting set up. We're allowing our community resource folks 15 minutes to kind of talk about their programs or things that they're offering. I'm going to talk about EFT tapping, which is what I use in my business. And yeah, I think it's just going to be a great time for folks to start having conversations around mental health awareness and suicide prevention, because those aren't always easy topics to talk about. But the more we talk about them, the better, because one conversation can save a life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's still sort of taboo for certain people or places or even men to kind of speak out. And that's why I always am an open book. You know, you see me having fun, you know, I do well out there, but you know, I struggle with some mental health things myself, and especially like anxiety. And so to get the word out, even for the people uncomfortable to admit or even talk about, like, you don't see me sad out there or whatnot, but you know, I can tell, you know, people some days I just feel like hell. I still do my best, try doing other stuff, but the more I say it, the more I get guys that come out of the woodwork and they're like, "Really, Steve? Man, I got a lot of bad days myself." But
yeah, men in particular, but everybody, because suicide is still one of those. I don't know if can you hear me? Suicide is still, it's what my grandmother used to call, it's a whispered word, like cancer or suicide, you know, like it's one of those whispered words, but everybody in this day and age struggles with some form of, because we're bombarded with sad, depressing things. I think just getting, EFT tapping, just that it's at our fingertips, just acknowledging, because people have kind of heard about it for over a decade now, but they still don't have any tangible resources, you know, where it's just like, yeah, it's simple. It doesn't seem like it should be super effective, but embracing that dark, depressing side, like Steve does. I've heard Steve instigate a lot of conversations with gentlemen about their struggles in. So cool. It's great work. Worthy work.
I got a dark side. I got a dark side that I bring it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I just realized I forgot to mention. So the first 50 RSVPs. So if you plan to just come and check out the resources or listen to the storytelling and you RSVP ahead of time, you'll get dinner on us. We are having it catered by Garibaldi Portside Bistro. So again, it's limited to the first 50 folks that RSVP. We're about halfway there. So you want to email me again, tcspcinfo@gmail.com. Yeah, I think it's a great way for folks to kind of feel like they're not alone, to recognize. I mean, if we, you know, stats can be kind of boring, but if we throw stats out there, 1 in 5 adults experience mental illness each year. 1 in 20 experience severe mental illness. And so right now, if we look at Oregon, we've got over 731,000 adults in Oregon that have a mental health condition. But what's the problem is that we don't have enough services for folks. And then we also have, like Steve was talking about, the stigma, right? So not everybody wants to resource themselves or have access, but we, as a mostly rural state, don't have enough providers as well. So again, the more we have these conversations and the more we get mental awareness out there, the more likely we are to get funds, right? Like we got that grant for the Suicide Prevention Coalition. Again, the more we talk about it, the more we can access resources, funding, research, etc.
There's always been a lack. There's always been a lack for counseling of in all forms in the 30 years I've lived here. So I
gotta say, it's better here than Alabama, because I'm somebody who needs that. I have a mental health condition. I suffer from massive anxiety, among other things, but it's almost impossible to find in Alabama. It's been a little bit easier here, but not much.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, now we have things like BetterHelp and like all the online services so people can access telehealth, but that's not always a good fit for folks either, right? And so, again, if nothing else, starting to have these conversations might be enough for somebody to reconsider some of the thoughts that they're having, right? Or connect to somebody that they feel like they've got hope and have resources and have a connection in the community. It's so important to have a connection in the community. I mean, you know, Steve and Angie, you guys are fairly new here, but you have rooted yourselves into the Tillamook community very well. But you know, that's not always easy. And there's a lot of folks, especially when you're in a rural community, isolation can happen. And that's part of why we did one of these events in each part of the county. So our South County event was back on May 2nd. Our North County event was last week on May 8th. And we did that for accessibility so that folks wouldn't have to travel an hour 45 minutes to possibly access something like this. And, you know, we learned a lot about our county and by, you know, how well these were attended or were not attended. But we're not going to give up.
You know? How was it?
South County was not attended very well. We actually had one attendee. But you know what? I was happy to train that one person because one person trained is who knows how many lives potentially saved. And they actually work at 211 Info. So they talk to hundreds of people. So that for me is a win. But you know, again, it shows kind of that, again, that stigma, right? That, oh, we're, you know, we've got ranchers and farmers and loggers and people that are going to, you know, that pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality. I grew up in Montana. I'm familiar with that. You know, I don't want to give away my whole story because I'll be sharing my story Friday night. But, you know, I grew up in a family that we, you know, we said the word suicide. We talked about suicide, but we didn't talk about options. We didn't talk about mental health. We didn't talk about emotions. You know, if you got in trouble and you were crying, oh, I'll give you something to cry about, right? Like I wish I had $1 for every time.
I know that.
Right? I'm already crying.
Right.
Flashbacks.
And so, you know, I think, again, us just showing up, and even if people didn't feel like they could come or weren't able to come, they at least now know that we're out there. And so I think that, to me, you know, I'm not going to take it as a loss or anything. I take it all as a win. North County was a little bit better attended. And I think it was a good event. We had quite a few people trained in QPR. I can't remember how many were sitting in the room, but we had some really powerful conversations in the training. And again, that's what matters, right? Is making people feel heard and seen and valued, and that they're not alone, and that what they're going through, they're not the only ones that have been there, is really what matters.
Yep.
Do you have to apply for a grant every year to do those, or?
Yeah, we are not a funded coalition. We are 100% just a bunch of people that get together because we're passionate about suicide prevention. Andrea and most of my other coalition folks work for various social service agencies or various other employers here in the county. And their employers kind of support them being a part of the coalition. I'm the only person that's truly unpaid as a entrepreneur that is just passionate about this work. I did portion some of the grant to pay myself for some of my efforts, but it's definitely been a part-time to almost full-time job this last several months, getting these Hope Fests planned and done. And I'm okay with that. I'm super passionate about this work. And, you know, I'm a grad school dropout. I was going to be a licensed clinical social worker, and then life handed me a different path. But that doesn't mean I don't care about mental health and suicide prevention and having a county that is healthy and well-resourced.
Now, with the RSVPs, so the first 50 people are going to get dinner provided by Portside Bistro, which is pretty epic. Mm-hmm. What's the total capacity? Like, say somebody they couldn't or they didn't RSVP. Is there enough room for just walk-ins to show up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we're going to have our resource tables down in the lobby so people can kind of wind their way through that. And then we're going to be up in the conference rooms, 214, 215. That's where we're going to have like the rock painting and some other things going on during the resource fair. And then that's where we'll have our storytelling as well. And I think our capacity for that room is around 60 to 75 folks. So yeah, there's definitely room for folks to just come in. I'd love for it to be standing room only. That's cool. The only thing is the storytelling cannot and will not be open mic style. And the reason for that is we are following safe storytelling guidelines from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, NAMI, all those things. And that's just to make sure that those that are sharing their stories are safe and in a safe place to share, and that they're doing so in a way that's not going to cause harm to those who are in the audience. Mm-hmm. But it is a sensitive subject matter. I'm not I'm coaching my storytellers on those guidelines, but I'm not censoring anybody's words or topics or, obviously hate language and hate speech is never okay. But I want people to share their true lived experience. So this might not be for everyone. But we also are doing our best to have some mental health providers on standby. So if folks come and something comes up, we're hoping to have some folks that folks can talk to if they're feeling like they're a little bit triggered or something comes up for them. So yeah, I think, we had a couple folks share stories at our North County event, and I think it went really well. We had a couple other folks in the audience that were thinking about it, and they might show up on Friday. I hope they do. But if folks want to share their story, but they're not quite ready to get on the mic themselves, they can meet with me. We can get that story written down, and we can have somebody else share that for them, and they can do so anonymously if need be.
Nice. How many storytellers how many people do you have that are going to share this upcoming Friday?
Right now I have 3 confirmed. And like I said, I have a couple that are on the fence.
Mm-hmm. I really like the storytelling aspect of that. I mean, that's why I do what I do on here, but it's also a great way to, even if you don't really relate 100% to someone else's story, those storytelling things are pretty powerful to people, if, just to feel like you're not alone and that, there's someone else out there that is walking that. When I did the Narcan training, a couple of months ago, we had a storyteller from someone who's been clean for, I believe, about 8 years, but she kind of talked about that experience and whatnot and gave a little bit of an insight. And I always think storytelling is pretty powerful and useful. So I'm glad that's getting done, but I also understand that's a pretty sensitive subject, and you have to manage and plan that very carefully.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And, I've curated spoken word and poetry shows before. I'm not, I've held open mics. I've done that. So I'm being very mindful in how I do this. And if if poetry is your jam, if a song, it doesn't have to be that you share your story in a traditional format either. We just ask that you're in a safe place and it's a story kind of hope and surviving, if not thriving, and how you've kind of come through, because I write some deeper, darker poetry. And I know that poetry can be medicine, song can be medicine. And so, yeah, we're definitely open to that as well.
Nice. I like it. These are great to go out there, because if you're in, I'm talking from someone that's very functional and whatnot, but for the people that you're serving, oh man, that was a faux pas right there. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't matter. This is not a high production deal.
Yeah, we were muted for the first.
Yeah. I was muted for the first minute when I started this, and then I look like a fool. But
my sound usually that was true.
I love that you're putting this on, that there's some accessibility, because people that do struggle, and when you're going through a crisis or you're feeling things and whatnot, a lot of times, for instance, anxiety, what you're going to want to do is barricade, hunker down. You're not going to talk. You're not going to have the things that you really need to center yourself. And when I always tell people, how do you get through bad days? I just keep saying, put one foot in front of the other. You got to get out there, breathe a little bit, but you got to take the step and get out and move a little bit. But also, when you can go out and you can talk to another human being and share and relate, it's a grounding activity, because all of a sudden you're pulling from someone else's strength. You're relating to their stories or people that have struggled more than you. And it's not like a fix. Like, you can go back home and go right back into crisis, but at least you have a moment and you have a tool for your brain to remember, hey, I came here, I was able to talk to these people. It gave me some solace, even though I still struggle. So I think that's great what you're doing.
Right. And again, you can come get a squishy brain for when you're having those anxious moments. So you have a brain to squeeze.
What kind of things are you going to have at the resource fair? What's going to be available?
Let's see. The Suicide Prevention Coalition will have a table with lots of fun goodies that we're giving away. Please come in. And we're going to have a fun little wheel that you spin, and we're going to have you answer a true or false question about suicide or mental health. Because, we got to make you work for some swag. And it's just a fun way to interact with our booth. And then we've got, who else do we have coming? We've got TFCC coming, Tillamook Family Counseling Center. So they'll have some resources and stuff at their table. Columbia Pacific CCO. Romy's always got great swag. I think she's got some water bottles and some backpacks. We have Oregon Department of Justice, Consejo Hispano, Care Oregon, Tides of Change, probably a couple others in there. Oh, Oregon Family Support Network. So yeah, and I think probably a couple more in there. And again, I'm waiting on a couple more applications from folks. But yeah, I think it'll be a good mix of folks. With a good mix of information.
Amanda, this is I think everybody's just primed and ready. You might already feel that to just absorb all this information. Just even if we haven't struggled with it, because we're entering this age of our natural ability to feel compassion and empathy, where when we see struggle, we are compelled to do something about it, as opposed to just feeling sympathy and walking by going, oh yeah, I feel bad, but we feel it, we're compelled to fix it. And now there's all these resources available to be able to, all the list of the care, the tides of change. I'm really excited about the EFT getting out there, because I have to no avail been, really excited about tapping for a dozen years now. And that I've told everybody, what she's trained in. She's trained, what her number one technique is, which it is so effective. And that you've got what you've got going in such a short amount of time already. It's very exciting. I just, the information that is so available, and people are ready to eat it up.
Well, thank you. I hope so.
Yeah.
Yes, I hope they come hungry for information and hungry for some pulled pork.
And then
from Bistro.
If you want some to read about it too, you can look them up in the Tillamook County Pioneer. They've got a nice little article about the event. So again, that's going to be this Friday, May 17th at the Tillamook Bay Community College from 3 to 8 p.m. But feel free to stop on the TillamookCountyPioneer.net too if you want just something to read and re-verify. Got that for you for after this if you're tuning in.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I wrote that up. So there is one other thing that we're doing that I want to promote. So Thursday, May 16th is Mental Health Action Day. So Mental Health Awareness Month has actually been around since 1949. Mental Health Action Day is something that Mental Health America started, I don't know how many years ago, and actually MTV and some other folks kind of pick it up, and there's all sorts of different places and agencies that do things for Mental Health Action Day. And what we've decided to do, since green is the color for mental health awareness, we are making May 16th Wear Green Day. So I want to see everybody in Tillamook County decked out in their brightest and boldest and most fun green on Thursday, May 16th. And I want you to take a picture of yourself decked out in your green and post it either on Facebook or on Instagram and use the hashtag Wear Green Tillamook.
Are you asking me to take a selfie? Because I am not.
Always.
He's not a media guy. He's not a social media guy.
I'll find him something green to wear.
So
I just green shirt.
Creative, like if you've got a green tutu that you usually wear for St. Patrick's Day.
Oh no!
Get another reason to wear it.
There's what he's gonna wear.
An Oscar the Grouch costume. Put it on.
That's great. Nice. And like I said, use the hashtag Wear Green Tillamook. We're gonna monitor those hashtags and there might just be a prize for whoever shows up the best dressed. And I just got the email. I actually will be going in front of the county commissioners tomorrow morning to get it actually made into a resolution that May is officially Mental Health Awareness Month here in Tillamook County, and that the third Thursday of every May will be Mental Health Action Day / Wear Green Day. So this will be our inaugural Wear Green Mental Health Action Day. So I hope you join in the fun. And, you know, I don't look good in green. That's the one day a year, though, that I deck myself out in green in support of this cause. And I hope that other people join in. Like I said, we've got a Facebook page and an Instagram page. Both can be found Tilco Suicide Prevention, because, of course, our big full name for the coalition does not fit on either of those. So, yeah, I'm just excited about, again, having more and more conversations about mental health, suicide prevention, getting the awareness out there, erasing the stigma, and just making it so that people can have these conversations with more ease.
What's the hashtag that you want people to put on if they post themselves in
Wear green Tillamook.
Green Tillamook. Okay, so I am putting that in the chat so you can look at it off the side if you forget. So hashtag Wear Green Tillamook, and I'll put it up on the screen there. So wear a bunch of green this Thursday. Take a selfie. If you don't know how to take a selfie, I'll show you. I'm really good at it. I've got a lot of experience.
And what was the other? You said another website earlier, and I was nearly going to do what he did, and I missed it.
Our email for everything is tcspcinfo@gmail.com. That's how you can get more information about the coalition, RSVP for Hope Fest, or register for the QPR training, or just share your story.
Okay.
Nice.
I have green scrubs.
Oh, you can wear green scrubs then.
Wait, can I borrow them? I don't have a whole lot of green. I need green scrubs.
He needs
Light green or dark green?
You don't have a green.
Do I get a choice?
Right.
Yeah.
Like I want like neon bright and loud, because that's the type of person I am. Neon bright and loud. Well, maybe not bright, but so we've got we're at about 7:40 now. Andrea, did you have anything you wanted to share to get into some stories or about yourself and whatnot? Because you're sharing the
or anything.
You're sharing the space. If there's anything you'd like to share,
up all your time to go for it.
And if you need to have a little huddle, it doesn't matter. But or you could just give a little bit about your background, your story, why this matters to you.
Yeah, why you're passionate.
Oh man, wow.
Why you keep putting up with me?
Yeah, I do a lot.
Goes both ways.
So I am actually a public health nurse at the Tillamook County Health Department. And I do a lot of home visiting stuff. So I'm able to actually go to the homes of people and be able to help them overall health for mainly families and also special health needs. And then also that kind of gives me a bit of an eye-opening into people's mental health and see what the needs are there. At the health department, we just recently expanded our behavioral health department. So a lot more we have a lot more providers now. And we're able to do handoffs from our primary care providers to the behavioral health teams very nicely. So it's actually pretty nice, which I have my own kind of mental health struggles. Growing up, there was a lot of stuff going on. Not really great environment, but I'm still healing from that. And I'm also making sure that I am taking the steps to go outside a little bit and take a breath and take care of myself. I did have a struggle recently, so I'm trying my best to be here with Amanda and be her backup. But I'm okay, really. But I
wanted to ask, because I always like talking with people that do a lot of social work, because these are people that do pretty hard jobs for next to no money. Does your work, do you have challenges with it? Like, you don't have to be specific, but
do you find yourself where, you know, you have to put so much work and effort and hear from other people? Do you ever get into situations where it's like, man, I need some time to regroup and focus on me? Or do you find that feeds you a lot? I haven't talked with a lot of people that do this sort of thing, so I don't quite know. So I'm kind of lobbing an odd question.
We put that in a box and shove it down and keep it there.
Don't.
Yeah,
No.
Only to explode down the road.
Yeah, compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, we do a lot of compartmentalizing, unfortunately, but also with a lot more talk happening and a lot more openness these past years, it seems people are a little more like, oh, hey, these guys need some extra help and attention too. So we're starting to kind of see that, and you know, our supervisors being a little bit more aware of that and trying to incorporate more things in general with like social care people, but it does depend on different facilities too. So it varies a lot.
Because you're a frontline person.
Yeah, I'm in the house with these families, so
you're in their home. It's not the same as when you come to the hospital.
Go and we'll pursue those careers, but if you're a frontline person and say there's not great leadership, and so you're all of a sudden doing something very difficult, you're not earning a heck of a lot, and then you're not getting supported, and it's crazy. I'm surprised with people that are able to survive and keep doing that kind of work.
I couldn't maintain it in my field of veterinary medicine, and I tried that in multiple different capacities and still couldn't. And so there's a lot of different.
I did elder care for years, and it's just the families, and then being able to take care of elders in their home, it just got burnt out after, you know, you see a lot. It's not like when you're working in a hospital and they're brought into your environment. You're getting to know family and seeing how they live and have lived. And, and you need some way to get your vibe back up and refresh and be nurtured as well, because you can't give away what you don't have, right?
Yeah.
Can't steal from an empty
What
cup.
do you have things that kind of are your go-to for, like, hey, when you get into a bad spot where you kind of get your own fresh air and kind of relax, or the things that work well for you?
Or
grounding moments, or people are hanging out with Amanda, you know.
Tap a lot.
Couch. No, I actually really enjoy spending time with my kids and my husband, and their happiness really helps me feel really centered. So watching them play a simple game, or even like my youngest, he'll just like be at the table playing randomly with little toys, and I hear his rambling, and I'm just like, oh my God.
She has two adorable little boys. They're great.
So it's that kind of centers me a little bit and helps me kind of put things back into perspective of like why I'm doing it. Because I'm kind of breaking a cycle with my own trauma right now with my kids. And so I want to help others to break their cycles too, and not continue going down that really dark road, and just taking the little steps. I tell all my clients, we're making really tiny steps and small goals, and we're going to get through this together.
Yeah, it's like eating an elephant. You got to take small bites.
Well, and when you're breaking generational trauma patterns, it really is like eating an elephant. And those small bites have ripple effects that go to forward generations and go back and heal among ancestral, generations. But it's a lot of work, and it can be exhausting. Andrea and I both are those generational pattern breakers in our families. And a lot of people don't talk about the cost. It can sever relationships or make relationships really difficult to navigate. And it can, you kind of become this island, and it's not a fun tropical island, right? Like there's a lot of hurricanes, there's a lot of monsoons, But it's hard, but yet it's hard and necessary work, right? Because she's doing it for her kiddos,
and it never
and
stops. It's not over. Like, it continues.
And also, Andrea, how and why did you get into this work? Like, what was the catalyst? Did you do stuff beforehand and then you kind of moseyed, or what was that story?
Well, I've been in healthcare in general since I was 18. I started as a caregiver, actually. And I honestly, it was just my little something to get away, the quickest thing to get into, to get away from my home, to start working. And then just realizing that the home wasn't healthy, like slowly, and then seeing friends and family members just go deeper into a lot of other mental health issues, and even taking their own lives, and a lot of other very negative things that I don't really want to talk about right now, but it's just seeing that and having a lot of empathy, and on my part, I just am like, why are we doing this to ourselves? And then, I'm consistently seeing me do that to myself. I'm like, wait, hold on, we need to stop. But it's just I'm just seeing all of these people suffer, and it just keeps killing me. And so that's why I keep doing the work that I do.
Yeah. And I'm going to steal the mic for just under a minute, because, I talk about that, I care about mental health, and that I care about, sharing, and making it okay for guys just to be able to go up and be like, man, something's not right. Just to be able to say it. I'm going to just take 30 seconds to tell you, because I don't want to be the person that just says, yeah, I care. Yeah, sure, whatever. For what I went through in my life that I struggled with when I was 16, my mom was in a bad marriage. She resorted to anorexia, dropped down to 78 pounds, almost died. Was able to get her in a hospital, get out of that environment. And then she was good, but she still struggles with a lot of depression and anxiety to this day. My mom is a lot like me. She's a big humorist and stuff, but you go through enough things in life, it beats you, and the anxiety beats you. So her spirit got kind of crushed with that. And then for myself, I went to college for 7 years, dropped out. I had a massive amount of debt from it. Employment, the pressures from my family. I started out making like minimum wage as a temp, and there were a period of about 2 years where I did not have hope, like in the deepest, darkest sense. And I never got close to doing anything dangerous, but I did drink a lot, and I thought about it a lot because I didn't see a way out or hope. I thought I was going to be trapped in that forever. And then even in 2019, I ended up going off to succeed. Like that temp job I took, I ended up growing. I got promoted like crazy, and then was able to get out of the hole. I got married and started building life. And then boom, 2019 hits, and I walked away from that corporate career under, I got mad at some corporate managers for doing some kind of evil things. And within that same year, I also had a divorce. And it crushed me to the point again where the deep, dark thoughts came back. And throughout that whole time, I drank a lot. And that's the last thing you should do, or that you should avoid if you're dealing with depressive things, because that's just borrowing happiness that you got to pay back. And so there's some things from the past that we experienced with our families, work, life, and whatnot that, for me, every single day it grinds me. And I'm an avid reader too, especially of just news, history, and I consume too much information, and my brain sometimes can't always handle it. So there's a lot of hours during my day sometimes where the brain just short circuits. There's just so much. And I remember the hopeless moments, the moments where I was almost homeless and in poverty, and those scare me. So like, even if I'm running a little bit lower on money or whatnot, it's just flashbacks. So I luckily for me, I haven't been stuck in that mental hell for long periods of times compared to some other people because I was able to pull out. But I remember what that felt like, and I don't wish that on anybody. So whenever I talk to somebody that's having some serious issues, I always try to remind them it's about putting one foot in front of the other. This is just from my words. This isn't professional advice. It's just my commentary. But keep walking, keep moving. Don't let yourself get hunkered down. But always remember, no matter how bad things get, there's going to be a moment that you're going to experience where you have gut busting laughter. There's going to be little moments like that that continue, even if the rest of that time is hell. But if I would have given up, what was that, 14 years ago, like, even though I went down and up and then I crashed again, I somehow was able to manage to climb even higher and to go on to do bigger, better things. And it never gets easy. There's always stress. Nothing's ever perfect. You know, if you're a follower of me, you see a lot of happy stuff. Well, there's more context with that. You know, I do have, you know, even in Tillamook, which has been amazing for me, I still struggle. I still have hard days. And there's still a lot of pressure. And I empathize because that feels like crap to me. I can't imagine, and I don't want to feel what it's like for someone who's living out on the fringes that doesn't have the resources and then has that mental pain. That's, to me, that feels like pure hell for somebody. So that's why I felt this was pretty important to get Amanda back on to talk about this, because I just don't wish that kind of pain on anybody, along with, you know, taking your own life. I talked more than a minute. I'm going to stop.
All good.
Amanda, back to you. Fly with no context or question.
Well, no, and you know, we're all going to experience hard things in our lives. And you know, if we go back to like stats, right? There are more men that die by suicide, yet more women actually attempt suicide. Men just choose more impulsive and lethal means.
Mm-hmm.
And so a part of this that I want to, you know, if we go back to the grant and why we wanted to do this, right? Some of the other things that we wrote into the grant, you know, you talked a little bit about self-care. I, in my business and in all the work that I do, recognize how important self-care is, but we can't do self-care without community care. And so that's another driving force for everything that I do with the coalition, these Hope Fests and everything in my work, is that it's teaching people how to build communities of care around them, whether that's 2 or 3 friends or an entire neighborhood or your entire county. And what I go back to is good old Winnie the Pooh, right? And you've got Eeyore. Yep. And Eeyore had his depression, right? And he isolated. But the difference is that Eeyore had a community. And they would go check on Eeyore. They'd realize, hey, we haven't seen Eeyore in a few days. Let's go check on Eeyore and see and make sure he's
They make him go outside.
Right? And they'd go bring Eeyore back into the circle. And even if he'd keep this glum attitude, right, he'd be there, right? Like I think of the one movie where they are celebrating a birthday or something and they strap a party hat on him, you know, and he's sitting there, you know, because I love Eeyore. But that's, you know, we've got to start having these conversations so that we can build those communities of care, so that we can make sure that nobody's falling through the cracks, that we've got a tightly knit safety net, so that we're finding those people that are isolating or are at the margins or, you know, are struggling to find access. It's super important to me. And again, if we look at stats, you know, our marginalized folks are those that are most at risk for suicide. You know, our Latino, Hispanic folks, our Black youth and folks, our LGBTQ, you know, we've got to make sure that we're doing things to make sure that we as a community are taking care of each other and creating space where we all can have our needs met.
Maslow's hierarchy.
Right. And, you know, I noticed there was like, you shared about tonight's show and somebody had commented about,
the socioeconomic,
socioeconomic stuff.
Yeah.
And it was really hard for me not to, well, you're welcome to join the coalition, because we do, like, right? We can't change all the systems. I would love to. Trust me. I am an activist.
We can't change our
I
economic
was a
system.
kid.
Like, that's in place. We're not built to.
I would love to change all the systems.
Yeah.
And yet I am having I'm having the conversations, at least, right? Like, again, I'm going in front of the county commissioners tomorrow morning, right? I'm doing as much as I can, and I'm always looking for more people to join the coalition. We are not a closed coalition. If you want to come be involved in the work that we're doing, if you are passionate about mental health and suicide prevention, please reach out. Our next meeting in June will be an open to the public meeting in person on June 7th. So, come check us out. Come see what we're doing. Come learn what the coalition is about. We'd love to have you.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna catch on, because we always avoid the dark side of ourselves, the shadow side of ourselves, and we really, I think, have robbed ourselves of our accomplishments when we do climb out of because we don't, again, that whispered word, we don't want to talk about our bad, but it's been known for Plato wrote about how until we embrace our shadow side, we can't come to our light side, because it's a package deal, man. And it's going to catch on. I think you're going to have a really big turnout of both people in need of a tribe, of a village, and people able to go out and help tribes and villages with this issue. Right. Yeah, it's a good timing.
Yeah, and I think people should feel comfortable enough to know that, for many decades, or even now in certain circles and whatnot, in society, when people want to engage, that what can cause anxiety is, people can be concerned about things like image and reputation. I trust and I like people that come to me with their dirt first. And that's always how I like to approach it too, because
you attract that.
You're telling somebody like, hey, I'm not better than you. I don't have my stuff together. You become more relatable. I have made more friends talking about and being honest about, my failures, my struggles and problems, which I'm not like out there trying to whine about it or whatever. I'm just giving an honest assessment and be like, yeah, I don't have my stuff together. And I've made more friends doing that than bragging about something I've done well,
Right.
And I
we're
think
not. Oh, go ahead, Angie. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I still think like one of the most important things we can do to help people is just every single day, every single person you come across, whether you are like that person, whether they are different than you, whether you agree with them, disagree with them, whatever the case is, be kind. Yes. Treat people with love and kindness, and that's how you
shut your mouth.
That's how you make small ripples turn into big waves, and that really is true. It really does matter. Like something small you can do can really affect someone's life. Just a kind word versus a negative word, anything like that. Just positivity instead, and love and kindness. And go ahead. And that's all.
I don't even remember what I was going to say. It's all good.
Sure did laugh a lot for a show that was talking about suicide.
Well, that's healing. There can be joy and happiness amongst the hard stuff.
Breaking the stigma.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I've lost.
It's the sugar that makes the medicine go down.
Yeah.
That's 3 people for me right there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I ran out of fingers and toes for all my losses, and they weren't all losses to suicide, but I just, that's part of why I dropped out of grad school is I lost so many folks, and I just had to take care of myself. You talked about, people in social services, if there's poor management and then on top of that, not great pay, and they preach self-care, but they don't ever actually set you up to do self-care or give you permission to take care of yourself. Right. I mean, what's most places 3 days for bereavement? 3 days is never enough for bereavement. Right. And so
you're over it, right?
You're right. Done. Yeah, you're good.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I just want to, again, the more of these conversations we can have, the more we can start to shift things.
The more we can grieve.
Right. The more that grief is allowed, that we give people space and permission to experience their true emotional selves. You know,
and
I like to joke that one of my gifts is that I will usually make folks cry within the first few minutes of working with me. And so far, I have a pretty good track record of also doing that at my QPR trainings. So, you know, like my track record is staying.
You saw my face. I was like,
I cried.
But yeah, I mean, it's just, again, it breaks that stigma down. It's okay if you're not okay. It's okay to cry. Tears are cathartic. They're healing. So
it's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to talk about it. Everybody, lots and lots of people.
Yes.
Hey, Amanda.
Has anxiety. I give my dog CBD every day because he has anxiety. Like
my dog has immune. Come here, Mr. Anxiety.
Amanda, you know what? One of my favorite, when I can't think of anything else and I'm doing my last round of tapping, is everything is always working out for me.
That's a great affirmation.
When I can't come up, I mean, everything is always working out for me is my blanket term for every reactory emotion I might have. So I love the tapping thing, obviously. That's what I said to Ann. Do you guys tap? Do you tap every day? I mean, when you're working in the field that you're working in, tapping is, do you do it every day? Do you do it?
I don't have a daily practice. I use it as needed, and I kind of use it in different ways because, again, I'm trained in advance, so I have different ways that I use it. So sometimes I'll just use finger tapping. Sometimes I'll just use kind of the neuro-linguistic programming, like talk therapy piece or venting out. Some of it I also combine with my Italian and like growing up with ranchers and farmers who just used to yell at cows and tractors. So like I'll just vent sometimes if I really need to, you know, and the Italian comes out, the hands get going.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I have a
still
friend
using your fingertips. Right?
He used to be like, would you quit being so Italian? And I'd be like, oh, sorry, I'm definitely talking. The Italian comes out. I start talking with my hand. But yeah. No, I definitely tapping. The more you use it and the more ways you use it, the better. Like, you know, the more it kind of more. It works
it's right there at your fingertips, and it takes 60 seconds. So I mean, for years I wouldn't do it, and then I'd say the only reason I don't do it is because I love to suffer. But now I just don't even waste time. It takes less time to tap than it does, and it does leave my thoughts. What's that?
The book Existential Kink. It's all about how we like to kind of stay in our own misery, like how we make ourselves, you know, like sometimes we get comfortable in our misery, and it's what feels safe or known.
Right. Familiar.
Like I'm not.
That's
funny
why
and miserable.
You
know, Kamaya, I think I got my own version of tapping that I've been doing this whole time that helps me.
That foot tapping thing. Oh yeah.
And beard twirling.
Oh, beard twirling too, and leg shaking.
This is what I do.
His leg is doing this.
Yeah, Andrea. I don't think you realize, Andrea. I like interview a lot of people, and like even if I meet somebody, I'll have a serious conversation the whole time I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, tell me more about. Yeah, that's.
I've
great.
watched you. I've watched you do that a lot. I don't say anything.
I haven't come up with different braiding techniques.
I've braided it before.
Can be done. Well, we're at the top of the hour.
We are.
Any, like last minute things that you would like to share, or stories, or Andrea, do you have anything?
As I say, I don't tap a lot. Just when I'm frustrated.
It's 12 years later for me, and the first time I heard about it, I used it. I knew it worked right away. It's only in the last year, 2 years strongly that I do it every day for something, something, even if it's just this, you know, because and now I don't even care if people see me because because that was a big thing too. You know, I mean, I do a lot of weird things, but you know, just walking around, you know, tapping But now I don't care. I finally have girlfriends come. It's been on mainstream media, which I don't pay any attention to, but tapping has been on main. So now some of my friends are like, it's legit. I said it was legit 12 years ago when I told you about it.
Right. If people want to know that it's becoming more and more of an evidence-based practice. So I'm actually putting together a proposal to go talk to Frank and the rest of the TFCC staff about what EFT tapping is, so that they are aware of what it is as a modality. So, yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
I'm trying my best to get it out there, and I appreciate that you're such a cheerleader for the work, because it is an amazing, amazing tool.
Yeah, I got it.
So you got some. I should bring that next time.
So I have shakers.
But yeah, I guess my parting words would just
bring me my pom poms.
What's your parting word?
I was just gonna say my parting words are just everybody remember to wear your green on Thursday for Wear Green Day, and use the hashtag Wear Green Tillamook, and then we'll see you Friday at hey Laura, we'll see you Friday at TBCC between 3 to 8 p.m. for our final Hope Fest.
Awesome.
Come get a brain.
Or 5.
A brain.
A spare at least.
I need 5.
We've got brains, we've got pens, we've got pins, we've got buttons, we've got stickers.
Knickknacks, patty wax, and the world's biggest piece of elbow macaroni.
You can paint rocks. There'll be all sorts of fun.
I want to paint rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Amanda and Andrea. Always a pleasure. And you're always welcome back on. We'll have you on every other week, even if you don't have a topic. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Awesome.
Update.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Right.
We'll see you later.
Bye, guys. Nice to see ya.
All right. So we skipped it. Before I move on really quick, if you're watching this and you're going to the event, or you're somebody that feels pretty isolated and you could use a friend or a voice, I do reach out to some people on the Facebook lands, but you can always buzz me. I am getting extremely busy, but I also like my food and a beer once in a while. So you're more than happy to come out and talk to me if you'd like. If you just need a friend, this is a small enough area. You're not going to bombard me. I don't go out and not like partying with all these people. It's just me, Angie, and a friend or two. So
hang out with us if you want.
If you need a friendly face or something, I'd be happy to tell you when I'm going out, and you can just come out and join me for a little bit.
Sorry.
Time for the Shelly reel.
This is what I feel like. This is what I feel like I look like. And this is what I feel like I feel like. Oh my God. Do I look like Shelley Duvall? Ew, The Shining. That was a great movie. Anyway, I'm gonna go take a little nap and hope to God that Jack doesn't show up. Oh, God. Hello? 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 I'm already dead. I'm already dead. God.
Da, da, da.
Bad week to stop sniffing glue. Next week's gonna be a terrible week to stop sniffing glue because Shelly's gonna be our guest.
And
Christine from Likely
Finds.
It's gonna be
the drunk show.
Yeah, that's gonna be the drunk show where we're gonna be even extra relaxed. So Laura, Kamaya, got anything before we wrap this up?
Nope. On to the next thing.
You get a joke? You had to come prepared with a joke.
I got to steal one of your jokes this week.
Sorry, we can't hear you because my phone's messed up. What?
Do you have a joke?
No, I don't. No.
What do you mean you came unprepared with? You know how much I got right before I do one of these? You don't have a joke?
It's my bad.
I could probably.
I came unprepared. Sorry.
Inappropriate.
It's okay.
Oh, so when I started the show for like the first 30 seconds, I was on mute.
Yeah,
So
I know.
didn't
I
tell my
kept
opening
checking my
joke.
thing, and now
So
I can't hear you.
I'll just tell you the opening joke, and then we'll call it.
Hold on a second. Wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. I gotta be able to hear you. Hold on. Just wait 1 second. Speakerphone, right? There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. Did it
All
work?
right. So if you tell somebody you haven't listened to a single word I said, it's kind of awkward if you do it to start a conversation.
Good one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And then
gosh.
the next part was
That's
twirling
right,
his
yeah.
beard. That was the next part.
Well, I did really say that. So
Yeah.
all right, we made it through another one, episode 21. Like I won't be at the Pacific tomorrow because I have to do something at her church and video, so I'll probably go out Thursday.
We have videography engagement.
Maybe I'll take tomorrow night off.
Yeah, calling Nelly. All right,
hang out in Rockaway.
I'm out of town
Buddy.
anyway, so
Thanks for
none of you
tuning
guys will
in.
miss me.
Yeah,
I'll miss you.
Aw.
It'll
I
be
won't.
date night.
If we don't see you on there, we'll see you in there. Toodles,
See
everybody.
ya.
Turn it off.
Oh, it's that end button.
Turn it
Oh,
off.
Lord.
Turn it off.